Welcome to Lockbox, a podcast providing real estate professionals with action items for success. My name is Jeffrey Brogger, and I'm going to be your host. I'm the founder of two real estate marketing and tech companies, STEEZY.Digital and Realtor.io. In this podcast, you'll learn from top 1% real estate and mortgage brokers the exact secrets to their success. Welcome to Lockbox. Welcome to Lockbox. My name is Jeffrey Brogger, and I am here with Kyle Seyboth. Kyle, thanks for being with us.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. So why don't you first start off by telling our listeners who you are and where you're from?
So I am a real estate agent and owner of Century 21 Limitless in the New England area. Where from my office right now is in STEEZY.Digital, Massachusetts. I also own and operate 7 other offices throughout Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. Currently, we have 160 agents, and I still sell real estate at a super high level. So the brokerage runs itself. I go out there and sell real estate. That's what we do.
And he's being modest. He was the number one real estate agent in the nation, right? And right. Your volume's around 140 million a year.
Yeah, so I do about 140 a year this year, on pace to hopefully surpass that. Just kind of work with buyers, work with sellers, and get stuff closed. We're in ABC.
That's right. And with that being said, we'll definitely dive into that. But I'm curious, what got you into the real estate industry in the beginning?
So I got into this because I had a passion for and saw some interest. Saw that one of the best ways to make money, to build equity, to build wealth was from real estate. Purchased a 4-unit, and on the commission stock, rather on the CD at the time, saw the commission for the realtor, and I was like, whoa, that lady, she didn't really do a heck of a lot, and she made a pretty good penny from, where I was at that time. I was like, that's not bad. It's it's pretty solid. So end of the day, it was a passion of mine to get into real estate, and then it kind of turned into what it is today.
Got it. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, so I kind of got into it from the investment side as well. I had a property that was willed to me when I was 16 from actually my father. So unfortunately, my father passed away when I was young, but I'm grateful for the time I had with him. And an unexpected result of that is that he willed the family home to myself and my 3 sisters. And shortly after that, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so my sisters and I, we decided let's keep the house. Let's not sell it right away. Let's try and turn it into an investment. And so over the next, 8-10 years, I bought all my sisters out and then, continued to cash flow it and then sold it actually just recently for like a $300K profit. So that was my first introduction into real estate as well, was like kind of from the investor side and being like, oh man, and after reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I decided this is a viable way to build financial freedom and wealth. So totally understand where you're coming from there. So now with your current volume, 140 million, what would you say to a broker out there or an agent that might be 60, 80 million? Of course, they're now looking at the next step of breaking 100 million. So what kind of levers could they be pulling? What should they be focusing on in order to get there to that next level?
Oh, so one kind of mindset thing I would say is stop watching the scoreboard. And I think it's important because I think a lot of, like, in the last 10 years, I don't watch I pay attention to it, but I don't watch it. And what I mean by that is I don't let the income drive the results. I don't let the income be the driver of how I'm going to act. I don't let the income be the driver. I still treat transactions like they're very important, and every buyer or seller is just as important as the next one. So for me, I think what happens is when we get to a level, we feel like we hit somewhat of a ceiling, we start to clock watch, we start to watch the scoreboard, we start to get in a position where all that we're worried about and focused on is that volume, right? Is the numbers. And we forget what got us there. And I think if you take what got you there and you pour gasoline on it and you expand upon and you exasperate everything that you've done, you have a better chance to blow through those hurdles. The other thing I would say is don't allow what other people tell you is not possible or feasible to really enter your mental space, right? So I never let anyone tell me how much volume or how many transactions was possible. I just kind of went and just did it.
I love that. I love both those mindset concepts. And in your brand story video on YouTube, you did mention, real estate is not about buying or selling. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you kind of explain what you said after that, because you were speaking at a conference and everyone was waiting to hear how you did 500 plus units that year. And it seems like that was one of the opening statements that you made. Real estate is not about buying and selling. So what is it about?
It's not about relationship building. It's whether you're selling real estate, widgets, cars, whatever. It's about building trust. It's about building reputation, credibility, and relationships with people that will continue to utilize you with whatever service you provide. So for me, whether you're an electrician, you're a realtor, you're whatever that path is that you're on, if you're in some sort of ownership or sales capacity, it's about body to body. It's about contact. It's about it's about nose to nose, interactions. And that to me holds much more value than me helping you buy or sell a property. So that's just the cause and effect, right? So the cause effect of the situation, I happen to be in real estate, whether I was in another position or whatever, that's just what it is. So for me, it's so much bigger than that, right? And it's about understanding how to grow a business. And it's about understanding how, as a service provider, we can provide exemplary customer service, and we can be able to provide a level of wherewithal and knowledge and different things that no one else is able to do.
Yep. Love that. Makes total sense. And a relationship focus has been common through myself interviewing top 1% brokers all over the nation. So I guess there's a trend there, right?
Yeah.
What is the single most important action you take on a daily basis that has attributed most to your success? Is there any one thing that you're just like, man, this right here?
I think it's the action is that every day is Monday, and I call it Monday Fun Day. And what I mean by that is the action is to get up and make it happen, right? So getting up, making it happen, not having a day where I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. Right? I don't want to do that today. I don't feel like doing this. It's really a function of getting that mind started from the beginning and saying, hey, I have to conquer today. I have to do it, staff, whether it's employees, whether it's my children, whatever that is. If I can't provide the best form of me and I have that mentality, then I'm not going to be able to get to those results I want. And I think that's a big factor is how do you look at the day? How do you tackle the day? And what do you do from there?
Right. No, that makes sense. And every day is Monday is a cool way to put it, because when you're in real estate, really it is. One of the things in your brand story video that also stuck out to me, which I think was a great thing to include, is like you're kind of talking to buyers or sellers at this point. You're like, hey, are you a morning person? Great. And it shows you like on the treadmill texting. And then it's like, are you a night owl? Awesome. Me too, right? Like sleep is the thing that interrupts what I love to do, which is, selling real estate, helping people buy real estate, first-time home buyers. Like you really hit a lot of different areas in your discussion or in your brand story video. My question is, what percentage of referral business what percentage of your business is referral? And then what percentage is like new from lead generation sources?
50 to 60 is referral for sure. Either referral or past business. I would say lead sources that are paid for organically or that are not paid, rather inorganically, or they're not paid for organically. I would say probably 15 to 20%, and the rest is miscellaneous stuff.
Right. Just random.
So you probably have 85% come from lead sources and or referral repeat business. And that's pretty consistent no matter how many deals I do.
Do you have some systems in place to increase the amount of referrals that you receive?
So I'm a very focused person on connecting and contacting my past clients, and the database system that I have in place for my investors has been great. Do a lot of video stuff where we send video out to a lot of our clients, and whether they're past, present, or current clients or future clients, whatever that looks like, we definitely do a lot of video. And the video is content that's valuable. We're not just providing nonsense. We're not just putting we're not just putting my face on a non-branded piece of content. It's all content with me talking about what I see and trying to add value. Got
it. And I'm curious, kind of in line with that, what has been your number one most profitable lead generation source outside of referrals? So you mentioned, you're sending out a lot of valuable content, and that about 15 or 20% is coming from like paid traffic. Is, a lot of agents, they're they say that I actually surveyed thousands of real estate agents, and they said the number one thing holding them back from not doing more transactions was because they didn't have a consistent flow of qualified leads. So that's a huge question for a lot of agents. And so, I'm curious, for someone that might not have the database or the momentum yet with their referrals, what's been your number one, like paid traffic lead generation source?
I would say Zillow, without a doubt. Zillow is definitely the number one. Zillow is surely the number one paid traffic source that I think has been. And I think the reason is very simple. When I go to buy a loaf of bread, or I go to buy an apple or an orange or a banana, I go to the grocery store. When I go to buy a house, I go to Zillow. So why, if I'm going to sell bananas or apples or oranges, why wouldn't I sell them through the grocery store, right? Why wouldn't I participate? Why wouldn't I want to be somewhere where all the eyeballs go? So for me, Zillow right now in this market, as much as people hate them, is really where all the consumers go. And the consumers are what we need to convert into possible clients. So that's a big factor for me.
Yeah, that's a great point. And along those lines, you mentioned there's this distaste for Zillow. Where do you think the industry is heading? What are your 5-10-year projections, and what are you doing right now to also set yourself up for future success?
I think I should say this. Unfortunately for real estate agents, people don't transact in real estate enough to be able to participate in any sort of online only platforms. I think it sounds good and it's sexy and it's a great idea. I list buy or whatever, iBuyers, or we list online, or for sale. But there's a reason why for sale by owners, everyone doesn't sell by themselves. There's a reason why people need an agent. And I think the hardest part of my job is not finding the buyer a house. It's taking it from the time they find the house till the closing. There's so many things that happen. You're dealing with so many different individuals: lenders, lawyers, buyers, sellers, other agents, fire department, inspectors, appraisers. Like, there's too many pieces of the puzzle, and there's too much liability in there for the entire shift to happen away from individual agents. So I don't know what the disruptor is. I know Redfin, obviously Compass, you've got some big disruptors out there that have tried to come into place. But I think at the end of the day, the disruptor will be some sort of Zillow disruptor, in my opinion. You're going to see another avenue where people start to disrupt MLS. They post their properties. But I think real estate agents are always going to be in demand. And it depends which one can change with the technology.
Yep, I tend to agree. And that's why my agency is here to actually assist real estate professionals to upgrade their technology, their online marketing, and their presence. Because at the end of the day, people do want a trusted local professional, someone that lives there. And so I'm a big believer in that as well. Now, it's easy from the outside to look at your success and just have this fallacy that, you were kind of like born into this. It came easy. But I'm sure that there were a lot of struggles and failures along the way. So, I have favorite failures in my entrepreneurial journey. I'm curious, do you have a favorite failure of yours that set you up for later success?
So I'll even rewind a little bit. So first of all, not only was I not born into this, I don't have a network of wealthy individuals. I'm not around people. Like, I didn't come up from an area, very middle class, working middle class, very, not anything special that you'd be like, oh, I get it. You'd probably be like, I don't get it, because it's not, it's kind of like the middle range, right? So you have those folks that grew up and had, a lot of affluent people around. So they had the nice network that they could kind of pick around and work with. Then you have the folks that come from nothing, who have that drive and ambition to get out of nothing, right? But the ones in the middle that really don't, they'll typically go that 9-to-5 route because they're comfortable. So I tried to break that mold, right? And I think the biggest the favorite failure, I guess I would say, is when one of my good friends bought a property maybe 7 years ago now, and decided that he thought I wasn't good enough in this business, so he was going to work with someone else. So for me, like, that was a good humbling experience where I was like, this guy's not going to work with me, right? At the end of the day. So, maybe there's something I need to change. And it kind of drove me. It put a little bit of a pit in my stomach and gave me that fire I needed to move on and then continue to where I'm at now.
Yeah, makes sense. Sometimes a chip on the shoulder can do wonders. and just wake you up from a level of complacency or a plateau. So I totally appreciate that. And I'm curious, nowadays you have so much going on. When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, do you have any questions that you ask yourself to help get back on track?
I mean, it happened this morning. I mean, every day there's so many, I get hit from so many different angles. So I have a driver, he wasn't in today. So I didn't have my driver today. So push me way out of my push me out of whack, right? So I need things to kind of fall into place so I can continue to do what I do. Push me out of whack. Then we had a bunch of issues at the office with the staff, trying to get that all situated. So you really have to just say to yourself, it's a good problem to have. It's okay. It wouldn't be here if you couldn't solve it. Figure it out and let's move on. And I really try to solve problems very quickly. And the reason to solve them so quickly is so I don't get hung up on anything, and it pushes me way behind the eight ball, right? So I'll always make sure that I try to solve problems very quickly.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially when routine things are thrown out of whack. It's so easy to get derailed. So that makes total sense. I know we only have a couple minutes left here. Your time's super valuable and I appreciate it. Just a couple more questions. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
I would say in the last 5 years, it's the ability to delegate, the habit of delegating things I'm not good at, and delegating non-income producing activities, and delegating things that I don't want to do has probably been one of the biggest habits. Outside of that is allowing yourself to be who you are and who you want to be, and be open-minded in the sense that, hey, look, I know that I know I was put here for some reason, and I know that the universe is going to bring me to whatever level I deserve and I should be at. But if I stay closed-minded and I don't try to grow and I don't become comfortable being uncomfortable, I'll never get there. So I think it was really adopting those mindsets at the same time as making sure that you continue to stay humble and work really hard.
Yeah, I love the delegation piece. It's difficult to do. It's easier to do on things that you don't like doing, but it's hard to do on things that you enjoy doing, but they're non-income producing. And a concept that I've heard, which helped me a lot, and hopefully it'll help my listeners. If you're wondering at what level should you be paying people to delegate, well, take your GCI from last year and divide by basically 2,000. Because if you divide by 2,000, that is the average amount of working hours. If you work 50, 40-hour weeks and take 2 weeks off, it's 2,000 hours. So I know that real estate professionals work 60, 80-hour weeks a lot, but it's a good metric to look at what's your hourly rate. And then once you break down your GCI to an hourly rate, now anything below that, you should outsource. And that's been a really good concept for me because it helped clarify okay, if my hourly rate is $100 an hour, I can outsource almost everything that I don't want to do for less than $100 an hour, right? And then you can focus on income producing activities. So
yeah, no, I never heard that. That's a good one. That's new. That's different.
Awesome. Glad I added value to you as well. So last question here, is there a question that I should have asked you or anything that you'd like to elaborate on from earlier?
No, I think one thing that I'm working on now is really trying to put some coaching stuff in place, working on getting a nice coaching program together so that we can help build not only strong agents that have the confidence to go out there and master buyers or sellers, but to have a mindset that allows them to be able to understand objections, understand the word no, and how to battle through that in a way that they can be successful and get to levels that they never thought were possible. So I think the coaching piece is a big piece for me.
I love that. And it's a natural next step. Once you've achieved success, it's an amazing gift to give back to the world. And, the smart ones will pay for that because it'll shortcut their success. So with that being said, how can listeners contact you if they're interested?
Easily, you guys can text me, you can call me, or you can head on any of my social media. My number is 508-726-3492. Email is Kyle@StEEZY.Digital. And then all social media, if you just search Kyle Seyboth, you'll get 8,000 million things out there.
Awesome. Kyle Seyboth, everyone, top producing real estate professional and soon to be coach. I really appreciate your time and having you on. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening. If you want to accomplish your real estate goals, then I highly suggest downloading my free Ultimate Real Estate Goal Setting Framework. The link is in the description of the show, and it will help you break down your annual income goal into the amount of phone calls, appointments, or open houses you need in order to achieve that goal. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.